Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything
Yes.
entertainment. So, sis, you are up first this week. What you got?
Okay, so I have a movie that I watched just recently called The Holdovers.
Oh.
It has a great cast in it. Paul Giamatti,
Okay.
who plays Paul Hunman.
Is this the one where he's a professor or
Yes.
a teacher or something?
Yes,
oh, yeah,
yes.
I did see that.
And
I said I was gonna
he's
watch
a
it.
professor at this college, or this, I think it's a boarding school.
Okay.
Yeah. You got Divine Joy Randolph,
Oh, yeah.
who plays Mary.
Mm-hmm.
You have Dominic Sessa, who plays Angus Tully, who was one of the main characters.
Okay.
You got Carrie Preston, that everybody's seen on a lot of things. She was on Claws. She was on, was it True Blood? So, but she plays Miss Lydia Crane.
Okay.
And then there are some other boys that are in here that you really don't need to know.
Okay.
So basically what this is it's 5 boys. So it's a boarding school.
Okay.
Now 5 of the boys can't go home because their parents are like, no, you just going to have to stay there because we're not going to be
We sent
home
you away for a reason.
Yeah, we're not going to be home for Christmas.
Okay.
Like,
And we didn't invite you.
Yeah, we're
on
not
our
inviting you.
vacation.
You have to get your education. So sorry we didn't come back for your Christmas, but nah. So, excuse me. So the 5 boys have to stay at school for the Christmas break, but they're staying with one teacher and a cook.
Okay.
Now, Paul Giamatti's character actually gets suckered into staying because one of the guys who normally stays, he is going because he said that his mother was sick. It's like, what's going on with your mother? He's like, I don't know, but something's wrong with her, so we'll figure it out when we get there. It's like, okay, bro. Yeah. So some of the boys are nice and sweet.
Okay.
Some of them are extremely mean. And I get why they're mean. It's because their parents have pushed them to the side. Their parents don't care about them. So they're just like, why do I care about anybody else? But then what happens? All the boys are starting to rag on each other. Like, your mother doesn't love you. Well, your mother or your father don't love you. You know?
Right, exactly.
So it's like a lot of back and forth between the boys. There's some fights. There's like some of the one who is the main character, who is Tully. Angus Tully. He actually takes some of the younger kids, and he's like, "Hey, I got you. Like, don't worry about it."
Oh, that's nice.
But he won't do that in front of everybody else.
Okay.
But like he does do it for one of the
He's
kids.
too cool for school to do it in front of everybody else.
Yeah. But yeah, he does do it for some of the kids, and there's one kid that is there that is the worst. He's just being an a-hole to everybody. He is the worst. And then Tully is like, oh, so he starts bringing up stuff. It's like, oh, so then such and such and such and such happened, and wasn't that you? Because like while he's picking on the other kids, he's
got stuff that they can talk about him
exactly
too.
Exactly. So some things happen, some things go on. And it ends up just being one kid there by himself. I don't want to say exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But it ends up just being the one kid, Angus, there by himself. So now he's by himself. He is the worst.
Really?
Now everybody is gone except for him. So now it's him, the teacher, and a cook.
Okay.
It's 3 people in the whole school. Oh, and the janitor. The janitor pops in. But that's it. So now he's upset because now all these other kids are gone. I'm still stuck here. My parents don't love me. I don't have any friends. So he's just down on himself. And now he's starting to act out. And what happened? Paul Human, Paul Giamatti's character, is like going off on him, and he was like, guess what? You know what? I'm tired. He's like, I'm tired of looking at you. I was tired of looking at you before you even had to stay here.
Wow.
I don't even want to be around you. You're ungrateful. You're a little piece of sugar honey iced tea, and I don't like you. Yeah. And the kid storms off. So it's like, and then Divine's character says, you know what you don't do is you don't tell a kid who is alone for Christmas how much you can't wait to get rid of them.
Get rid of them. Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, come on here, let's go. But so she is also going through her own stuff because her son was, I believe, in Vietnam. and he died overseas. So now I think he went to the school. So she's like, last time I hung out with him, we were here. She was like, so now I feel like if I was to leave and go to my sister's and spend Christmas with her and her family, I would be leaving like the memories of my son here. Yeah. And so they were just like, all right, cool, we get it. So now that one kid is left behind with just the teacher and the cook, and the cook's talking to the teacher and was like, yo, you got to pull it together. Like, this boy is going through some stuff. Like, you've been through some things. I've been through some things. Like, we got to help this kid out. So they end up forming a relationship. Like a great relationship with each other. And it's cute how it happens. Like, there's one part that you see, and you see this in the trailer, and it's because they all get in trouble. So the boy's sitting there, and then the cook, Divine, she walks up, and she sits there, she looks all worried, and she just has her head to the left, and she puts her right hand out towards the boy. And he has his head to the right, and he puts his left hand out and holds her hand. So, they have like moments like that. There was a part in the movie where when Paul Giamatti's character was like, all right, I realized I was being, evil and mean to you. Yeah. I will do anything that you want to do for Christmas. He was like, are you serious? Like, really? He was like, yeah, whatever you want to do. And then he was like, all right, let's go to Pennsylvania. He said, okay, no, we're not going to Pennsylvania.
You just said anything.
And then that's what happens. And then Divine's character was like, you just told the boy anything. And he's sitting there, and then it's like, all right, I guess we're going to Pennsylvania. So then they take a road trip. They're not supposed to leave the school. I don't even think they were supposed to go outside.
Oh my gosh.
They couldn't go in the gymnasium.
Oh wow. They were really restricted.
Yeah, it's like just like you eat and you go back into your dorm room and you go to classrooms and that's it. So so they are gone and they're in Pennsylvania, and then they go to like this restaurant. It's like, let me get a beer, let me get this. And it's like, no, you're not having a beer. You're gonna have a burger, blah 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 blah,
milkshake.
Yeah. So it's kind of cute because the boy's like, I'm gonna wear you down. Like you can see in his face, it's like, you're gonna let me have a beer one day. It's coming. Like I already know it. But it comes to be that his father is in Pennsylvania, so that's the reason why the boy wanted to go to Pennsylvania. Now I'm not gonna go into details about the father situation because
that gives you a whole other layer of some stuff to wonder what's going on.
It's a whole thing. It is sad. Like I could see some emotions that was going on and everything, but it is a sad occurrence that happens for Angus. But actually, before they go to Pennsylvania and the gym is off limits, he's chasing the boy around. The boy's all mad. The boy goes into the gym, jumps on the little trampoline thing, hits the pommel horse, falls down, and he goes, ah! He has popped his shoulder out of place. And he was like, see, this is why they said don't come to the gym.
Out of order.
So now they have to take him to the emergency room. And Paul Giamatti's like, that's it. So I'm losing my job because of you. Said because of this very moment when I said don't go into the gym.
Yeah, because is that going to hit the parents' insurance?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So the nurse comes up. She was like, okay, well, before we can take you back, we need you to fill out this paperwork. And she's like, so here you go, Dad. And he's like, well, actually, and then the boy starts talking. He was like, please can we just figure out how to pay this with cash? Because it's my dad's weekend and he told me not to do something. I went ahead and did it anyway. And I don't want my mom to be upset about it, blah, blah, blah. So he's playing off like Paul Giamatti is the father. And he's just like, I really wanted to, she's like, no, I'm sorry. This is the only way that we can do it, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, we'll figure out something. So then as soon as the nurse walks away, Paul Giamatti is like, I can't remember the name of the school, but there's such and such school, men don't lie. And he was like, you just lied to this nurse for no reason. Like, it's fine. Like, but the boy, as soon as he said, I'm going to lose my job because of you, the boy.
That's why he was
the reality hit. How to figure
another
out.
way to fix it.
Exactly. Because he knew he wasn't supposed to go into the gym. So now he's like, man, I'm going to get in more trouble. And then I'm going to get this man fired. And then now what am I going to do? I'm going to be stuck here every Christmas? Or no, the next place they were going to take him to was Fort Union.
Oh,
Fort
military
Union.
school.
Yeah, Fort Union was the next school that he had to go to.
Yeah.
So it was like, they told him, hey, if you can't pull it together, his parents told him, well, not his parents, his mom and his stepdad. Look, if you can't pull it together, you're on a Fort Union.
Yeah.
But he's acting out because he doesn't have anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, hey, we don't love you, but if you don't do it right, do
Yeah.
it the way that we say it, then, we're going to ship you off to a whole nother school where you still won't know anybody. Mm-hmm. So that's when they start to get back in. That's when they start to get into that motion of becoming friends. And Divine's character does end up having some moments where she gets inebriated because of the fact that she is hurt that it's Christmas Eve and she's not with her son.
Okay.
So she's sitting there and she's drinking and everything and just listening to music over and over again. Somebody says, "Can we change this music?" She said, "Touch it if you want to."
And now she's an Academy Award.
Yes. Congratulations to
got
her.
Oscar.
Yes.
For The Color Purple.
Yes. But yeah, so with that being a whole thing where they, they're getting that bond together because all of them are hurt.
Yeah.
All of them are hurt. You end up getting Paul Giamatti's story, which I feel like his story was like nowhere near as bad as everybody else's.
But yeah.
But it's like white man issues compared to young teenager who doesn't
First
have
world problems, as they say.
Yeah. So but then all in the end they do become kind of like a little family and it's very cute and it's awesome. But it's like they trauma bond. That's all it is. They're trauma bonding.
Everybody trauma bonds. Okay.
And they did like some stuff together while they were in Pennsylvania, which was super cute. How they went out and did some things.
Okay.
The ending is good.
Okay.
It's heartfelt, but then it also makes you angry.
Really?
Well, I'm not gonna say angry, but it made me feel some type of way. Yeah.
Okay.
So
was it a bad ending, or is it that because sometimes they just leave you hanging kind of ending?
No, it's not a leave you hanging type of ending. It's like
don't give it. I was just trying to figure out.
It was just like this could have been so much more.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. But that's what I had. It is The Holdovers on Amazon Prime. Check it out. I think that it is a good. I didn't want to watch it. Shout out to Queen. She was like, "Hey, you want to watch this movie?" I was like, "I don't want to watch this thing about some kid in school with his teacher and no."
Yeah.
And then I watched the trailer and I was like, "Okay, let's watch it." So, like I said, it is on Prime Video.
It's like a Goodwill Hunting kind of
Yeah. That's why I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Then that is exactly what I said. I said, I don't want to see. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I said, I don't want to see that mess because that's what it reminded me of. You know,
because it's like a boarding school, and that's what you think of. So okay,
but it's on Prime Video. Check it out. The Holdovers.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you have next, sis?
I have Behind the Music.
Oh,
which, remember, everybody probably remembers there was Behind the Music from like the early 2000s and all of that. Well, it's been, as they say, remastered for 2024.
For younger people?
No, just a new upload, a reboot. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's not remastered. Well, they remaster some of the older episodes. So as an example, but that's not the part that I'm talking about. So, they actually were old episodes of Ice-T, Sinead O'Connor, Bobby Brown, 50 Cent, Milli Vanilli, Notorious B.I.G., all of those people are in here. But also, they have Tracy Adkins, brand new, 2024, Behind the Music.
That's what I'm saying,
Belle Biv DeVoe, brand new, Behind the Music. And Wolfgang Van Halen, brand new, Behind the Music. Okay. So, I watched the Belle Biv DeVoe one as an avid New Edition fan.
BBD.
I definitely was like, I wonder, after all the things that I've watched about New Edition and every documentary, well, not documentary, well, there was a documentary, but every remastered, again, using that word, storyline about New Edition, will I learn something new about Belle, Biv, and DeVoe?
Okay.
Ricky, Mike, and Ronnie.
Okay.
So, interestingly enough, I did. So, it is the story of the 3 people who kind of separated from New Edition. And it was interesting because they told the story like a documentary, as they do with all of the behind the musics. But also, it was very interesting because they started it like in their own homes. Like they were walking down the steps. They were like, okay, we're going to give the real, the raw. We giving this, you know, like we're being serious here. We're going to tell you stuff you ain't never heard before, which, I mean, maybe some of the people have heard it before. Some of the things I hadn't heard before. So what they did is they just walked through like, hey, we were kids from the hood in Boston. Mm-hmm. We got a record deal. They wanted Ralph to be the middle. All the women, or the young girls, I guess you would say, the teenage girls would come to the show, and it was all about Ralph. Who do y'all want to see? Ralph! What's going on? Ralph! He was already the lead singer. He was doing all of this, you know, and the girls just loved him. And it messed with a lot of their self-esteem. They were just like, you know, the reality is, we were just like, what is it about Ralph?
Which one was Ralph?
Ralph Tresvant, the middle one? I mean, the main singer.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Ralph, hello.
I get them mixed up. I get Ronnie and Ralph mixed up. It's the R's. The R's. But no, I got you, Ralph Tresvant.
Ralph.
Got you.
Mm-hmm. Man with sensitivity.
Yeah, that's what. As soon as I said Ralph Tresvant, then I was like, man with sensitivity, a man like me.
Okay. Anyway, so. Anywho, what happened was they were like, hey, that's the real. Like, you know, it bothered all of us. So then it goes down the storyline of Bobby and Bobby wanting to leave the group because he wanted to gyrate. He wanted to do certain dance moves that were different than the Candy Boy, you know, kind of dance moves that they would do because they were like, you know, young kids, right? And as they became older and their voices changed, they still were doing these kid moves. So he was like, look, I got to be me. So we know Bobby, he left. He started his own career and everything, but he didn't leave until they kicked him out the group. So that's the thing. So they talked about how they kicked him out the group. And Bobby, they even had a little clip of him from probably something else where he was like, yeah, I'm just waiting like to figure out what's going to go on. And they were like, you out. Like, we voted and you're done. And so it was like, wow, okay, guys, thanks, appreciate it. And it was almost like the music execs were basically like, look, if y'all going to continue, you can't continue with Bobby. Like, he's too much of a rebel. He's not trying to follow the rules, all of that. So he went, made his own album, his My Prerogatives, and all of that kind of stuff. Every little step, Tenderoni. He, you know, I don't think he was hurting.
Thinking about her road, she's sweet little girl, but
And then what ends up happening is that Ralph, they said one time they're sitting there, Ralph all of a sudden puts a boombox on and says, here's my new my new tape that I'm coming out with. So, because they were like, why is he like acting a little distant or whatever? And it was because he was coming out with his own new music as a solo artist. They ended up being able to keep him, however, and he did not do his solo album, and they brought in Johnny Gill. So I wasn't remembering I knew that they all did the Any Heartbreak all together, with Ralph still a part of the group. I didn't know that the group already knew Ralph was doing his own solo album before they even created that album with Johnny Gill. And so they ended up doing the album with Johnny Gill. They said that gave them more maturity, you know, for them to be able to do that. But then they also knew that Johnny was getting his own album. So those 3 were like, well, what's going to happen to us? Because you got Ralph, who's going to be going off and doing his thing. You got Johnny, who's going to be going off and doing his thing. What about us? And so all of a sudden they said they were at some event where Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were there. And I can't remember, I think it was Jimmy Jam who was like, so what are y'all going to do? Like, what's the next move for New Edition or the group or whatever, especially if those 2 leave? And they were like, we don't know, whatever. And he was like, y'all should start your own group. And they said until he said that, they had never even thought, because they were like, we were never selected to be the lead singers. Like, we weren't given that opportunity, so we weren't even thinking about the fact that
we were the background singers.
We could do our own thing. So then they had that in their head. They decided to go down their path. And interestingly enough, like, you wouldn't have Poison without that, right? I mean, like, that's the biggest song ever. Like, they were like, you know, hey, you could have cookouts, you could have whatever. You put Poison on, you know, people gonna start dancing and dancing.
Poison.
Yep, exactly. Poison. Yep. And so they said also what ended up happening is that the music video was what really kind of took it to another level because nobody wanted to play BBD by themselves at first. They says for some reason, once they made the music video and people started seeing the video along with it and realizing, wait, this isn't New Edition with them doing their same little moves and everybody can wear their own like outfit. Everybody's not dressed exactly alike. Like they got some swag and some style. Oh, okay. I didn't know that this was Belle Biv and DeVoe. Like, BBD. Okay. I see you. So that's when they said that it just like elevated to another level. And they said that it was just a huge hit. Now, little did we know there was infighting between BBD.
Oh, okay. I mean, that sounds right. Men with egos.
Well, I mean, the thing is that little did I know, again, learn something new, that when they had that Boyz II Men song and they were like backstage, and they saw Michael Bivins and they went ahead and said, BBD, hey, you know what we're saying, that whole part of the song.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, let's sing something and let me see. They said, oh, we'll sing something and see if this one moves you. And then they're doom, 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 da, da, all of that, right? So that's how the song goes. Well, the reality was that Boyz II Men approached Ronnie and Ricky. Oh. And in approaching Ronnie and Ricky, they were like, oh, yeah, y'all sound pretty good. Let's call Mike over. So when they called Mike over, Mike was like, yeah, give me your information, whatever. And they said Mike was the one who had the wherewithal to actually do something with it. Whereas the other two, although they were approached, they didn't do anything. So I don't know if there was some little bit of resentment with that, but it was like, well, we didn't take the action. He was, more business minded and thought of that. And so, but they were also frustrated that he was spending more of his time with Boyz II Men than he was focused on BBD. Okay. Then he had another bad creation. Aisha, you are the girl I never had, and I want to get to know you better. So we're singing these for context. We're singing, they were, exactly. And so what he was saying is that he wanted to support the younger generation with getting their music off the ground because of the fact that they didn't have people looking out for them. So he was like, I can be that person to look out for other people. I don't know if he did it or not, but that's what he was saying. So in the process of all of this, he said, hey, I got this deal. I'm telling Ricky and Ronnie, hey, come meet me at the studio. I'm signing this check. Like, come and support the groups and what we're getting with this music deal, right? Now, he said, I didn't tell them, but what I was going to do was when they showed up, take the check and split it. Like, give money to Ronnie, give money to Ricky, and just say, hey, for y'all, like, understanding what I've been going through, trying to do all of this, like, this is some compensation to just kind of make up for it. But they ain't show up. So he was like, that hurt him to his heart because he was like, I ain't know it was that serious. Now I am realizing how serious it was. Like, I just thought, they were a little frustrated that I missed, a practice of this, but they were like, nah, now we know like what's going on. So then that becomes part of the storyline, as well as things like Ricky basically filing bank, like losing everything. Yeah. And realizing, you know what? I know I've been a member of New Edition. I might even be on a tour, but I'm going to have to start selling some real estate or something because if I don't start doing something for myself, I'm going to be on the street. Like I have a family now, whatever. So he ended up selling real estate. And I remember when I heard that and people were like, Ricky selling real estate? Like, why is he doing that? Like, he's in New Edition. And I'm like, do people not realize that unless you're on tour 24/7, you don't really make that much money?
Nobody knows that.
Because your music isn't making money for you. The tours make money for you.
But nobody's realizing that because they also don't know that your contract is crap. So then, like, they're all going to put out all this money and be like, oh, yeah, you want the fancy clothes? You want the jewelry, the cards? Yep. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get it. And your album sold. Oh, yeah, so the fancy clothes, the jewelry, the cards, all of that all those studio sessions that y'all wanted to go ahead and stay there for 12 hours. And,
that all comes out first. And then you get, because I think in one of their stories or documentaries, they were like, or maybe it was TLC, I can't remember. They were like, after everything was said and done.
TLC,
Oh, yeah, they were like, we got $50. Yeah. Like, it was like, what? Like, you've done all this work, all this stuff.
They had Grammys in their hand when they were saying
and they were saying that they were broke, and it was like, wow. And so so then you go into the story of Ricky Bell and him realizing that just everything, pressures, all that stuff, stress, whatever. So he decides, I'll take some ecstasy if somebody offers it to me at a party.
Oh, okay.
And then that became cocaine. And then he became completely addicted. And I didn't know that he was as addicted as he has been. He said he has been in rehab like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, wow.
He has now been clean since like 2015. But he was like, it is a daily struggle. And how his wife, that like when he met her, he was using, and she didn't know, but then she kind of picked up on it and realized. So they interviewed her and talked to her about things. So it was really a good documentary just about what all was going on. But I just wrote down here, it was alcohol, drugs, suicidal thoughts, losing everything, homes, cars, reestablishing themselves, and now coming out with a new album. So that is the story of BBD, the Belle Biv DeVoe behind the scenes.
All right.
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Yep, behind the music. I'm sorry, I said behind the scenes. Well, it was behind the scenes and behind the music. All right, so what you got next, sis?
Okay, so the next thing that I have is on Max, and it's called The Sympathizer.
I did see something on that too. I don't know what that's
It's got
about.
my boy RDJ. Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
And he's playing multiple roles in this. So I'll go over the cast. So the main character is, I cannot say these names.
There we go again.
Why was Americans so bad at speaking other
Languages?
names?
You want me to try?
No, absolutely not. Because let me be the bad one. You don't have to be the bad one.
Go for it. They're going to think, well, you obviously didn't read this before.
Zonde?
Quazonde?
I don't know. But he is the captain. He is the main character. You have RDJ, who plays 5 different characters. He plays
I did hear that.
Claude, Professor Hammer, Ned Godwin.
He's the dude playing the dude, acting like another dude.
Yeah, exactly. Nico Diamanos and Nikos. Oh, it's Nico Diamanos, so it's just one person. Sorry. So yeah, he's playing those people. You do have Tone Lay.
I thought you were going to say Tone Loc.
No. Who plays the general, and he is the general over the South Vietnam.
Okay.
You do have Fred Win Khan, who plays Bon, and Bon is the best friend of the captain. And let me see who.
Every time you say the captain, I just think I'm the captain now.
Oh, really?
That's right.
I think
what comes
Captain
to mind.
to Neil, but yeah, okay.
Captain
You got Sandra Oh as Sophia Mori. And there's some other people in here that are not as big of characters in it. Well, that I've seen so far.
Okay.
It hasn't been out for long. I think it's only 4 episodes out right now. Let me double check that. So it's a total of 7 episodes, and yes, the 4th episode, it just came out.
Okay.
So that just came out May 5th. So the next one will be out on,
it's coming out on the 12th.
It's coming out.
We'll just say the 12th.
Yeah, it came out on 12th. All right. So, just to go over this. So what it is it's towards the end of the Vietnam War, right? So you have North versus the South. And now what the story is it follows a man who is a spy for the North Vietnam, and he is working to assist the general of the South Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it is him being a spy. He works for the U.S. government as well as for South Vietnam, because they are together. Because the Viet Cong is North Vietnam, so U.S. is fighting North Vietnam, but he's actually part of North Vietnam. He's the spy for North Vietnam.
Gotcha.
But he's getting all the stuff from the South.
Okay, got it.
But it goes a lot of back and forth, and it took me a couple of times to actually watch it and really get to it to understand exactly what was going on, because I couldn't remember what side was was the
Did
U.S.
they
was
make
on
it
the
look
north
different?
or the south. I mean, it looks like it was made like in the 60s, 70s. You
Okay,
know.
but I mean, I just didn't know if it's like slightly brighter on one side or duller on the other side. Or
Oh no!
anything
Oh,
like
you
that.
mean like on
everything
the?
looked exactly the
They
same from a
didn't. They
cinematography
did not
perspective.
show North Vietnam. Everything was in the South
Okay.
because the North Vietnam was taking over. What they called the president of South Vietnam called them Viet Cong. So they were the ones that were trying to take over and
Okay.
spread the
Gotcha.
communism or whatever. So like I said, Robert Downey Jr. plays multiple characters. He is he's every person in like the U.S. that comes to Vietnam or whatever. He plays a gay man. He plays a spy. He plays a movie director. He plays another older guy. So he has different
I wonder why
roles.
they did that. Like to have him play all those
Well,
roles.
see, so this is a thing. I wonder if it's because it's like it's the spy part of it. So it's like every time you see him, you're like, oh, is he in spy and stuff?
Yeah.
No, he's a whole different person. So he gets like it keeps you guessing. Like
Gotcha.
that's how
Okay.
I see it,
That's
but
what
I
was
could be
wondering.
wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong. So how it starts off with is it says in America they call it the Vietnam War, but in Vietnam it's called the American War. Because America just comes over and it's just like, hey, we're going to give you a hand. It's like, no, I've got it. Nah, we're going to give you a hand anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. It's like, no, but I'm good. No, please.
Yeah,
Please.
we insist.
Please, we insist. So it also says that all wars are fought 2 times. Once on the battlefield and then second time in your memory. Which is very, very true. That's why PTSD is a big thing. So, now the young man that they call the captain, how it starts off is that it starts off with him in a cell.
Okay.
He's in a cell and he's sitting there and he's writing. Now he's writing down all of the things that had happened and his whole rendition of everything that went on. So he's already given his confession. Now he has to write all this stuff down. So as he's writing it down, he's now having clips of the events that have happened. So the whole show that you're watching is actually him thinking back.
Okay.
So, but he's just reliving everything in this little small cell.
Okay.
Because now he's like, he'll hear something and like he'll hear a song. And as soon as he hears that song, boom, now it's another flashback to is what happened in this time. So it's kind of like the war happened twice in his head. Mm-hmm. He was there to fight the battle with the being back and forth between the North and the South, and now he's reliving it in his memories.
In his head, yeah.
Yeah. So like the soldiers that have him, they are on the winning side, is what it says. They're on the winning side.
Okay.
And I can't tell if it's North or South because I'm not a fast reader.
And it was words and transcripts.
And the subtitles were really fast for the Vietnam to English. So I was just like, a couple of times I had to pause, read, and then go back because they're talking fast and the words are just coming up fast.
That's weird. Yeah. How do they expect people to follow that?
I mean, probably people just read faster than me. That's all it is. Yeah. So the war gets really bad. And now the captain is working with the general. He doesn't have a name. His name is the captain.
Okay.
So he's working with the general. The general is like, all right, they're encroaching on us. Everybody's upset. We got to flee. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, bro, you can't just flee. Like, the president just left. He's like, it's like, you're the general over the army.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. And then he ends up sitting down talking to the U.S. and was like, look, this is what I need. This is how many people I got to get out. And they're just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. And he's like, no, this is what I need. The Americans, they always want to screw us over. Like he said some stuff. Like,
Oh, gosh. Okay.
and then the captain has to go ahead and translate. And when he translates, he's like, so, thank you so much for everything. The general says, thank you so much for everything that you've done. When the general is just like cussing Robert Downey Jr.'s character out. Just like, he's a POS and like, can't stand him. This is how Americans do. They'll give you one thing. They'll tell you one thing. They'll give you another. So that was a big thing. But what happens, they have to flee. So now it's like, okay, look, We got planes for y'all, so you can go ahead and leave. We just need to have a list of people that are coming. You can't have a folder that is, 3 inches thick and think all these people are coming. No, you got to cut it down. So some people, like one man took his mother.
Off the list?
No.
Oh.
With him and left his daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like, the thing was, it's like, why would he take his mother? And his mother was like, I don't even know why he brought me here. And he left his daughter there.
Interesting.
But his thing was, I can always have more kids. I only have one mother.
Oh, goodness.
You only have that one child. I've heard a lot of men say that statement before.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I don't understand that because I'm like, so you can always have more kids, but that's not going to be the same kid.
No.
It's not like you're cloning.
No.
This is a whole different being, but yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that ends up being the thing. Now the general, once they get to the U.S., they end up being in like a warehouse type thing. It's like they're not really anywhere. It's like they're refugees. So it's like, where do we go? Mm-hmm. So while they're waiting and trying to figure out what's going on, people are mad at the general.
Okay.
Because it's like, one, you left some of my family members back there when you told us that we could all go.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's two, now you're just a coward because you fled just like we did. And you're supposed to be over there fighting for your country.
Yep.
This is your whole job. Mm-hmm. So now the general's like, there is a spy somewhere in this camp because all these people are turning on me, and they have information. The other side has information. The Viet Cong has information about our whereabouts and how we're doing this and doing that.
Yeah,
and so he's talking to the captain. The captain's like, "You really think he's a spy? Come on, man!"
Mm-hmm.
And they're in a porta potty.
Oh wow!
Talking because people have chased them because people are so mad at the general. But now, and they're like sitting in the porta potty. We're standing in the porta potty. Flies and everything are all flying around. You see the guy like trying to stand there covering his nose. Oh, like all you hear is yeah, because the flies are flying around. But he's just like, okay, I'll look into it. As they're looking into it now, it's like, oh well, I have to get the heat off of me, so somebody got to go down. Somebody has got to be the person who has to be the spy.
It's about to go down.
And there's like so many things that are into this. There's one, like how it starts off when they're at the movie theater. So I didn't know what was happening. So like this, so it's like me watching this, it's not going to be until I get to the very end for me to understand exactly what's going on. Or how this all came together, because it's so many flashes back and forth.
Gotcha.
And then it's like, how is the captain now writing movies and like he's and like helping out with movies, and then like how is he still talking to the North, and then so it's like so much back and forth. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Right.
I want to understand what's happening.
But
It's a
so
good
much?
show,
right?
But I can't figure. I feel like I don't know if it was just like. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that I couldn't get it all down because I was missing out on some things that were said. But I feel like it's all thrown together. It's like a puzzle. It's all thrown together in a box. Okay. But now the season, while they're laying the season out by episode, now you're finally putting the puzzle together. That's how I feel.
And is it so? It is episodes.
Yeah, it's 7 episodes total. Yeah,
okay.
7 episodes total.
Okay,
but it's at episode 4 right now.
Okay, got it.
So, well, 5 right now. So that is basically it. But it's really hard to understand how all of this is going on, because I mean, like, did you learn anything about the Vietnam War? We never learned anything about the Vietnam War.
Not in school, no.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, they talked about, I feel like they probably talked about, like, the Civil War much more than they talked about World War.
The American Revolutionary War, like, all of that, the Boston Tea Party, all that. So it's like, so I know so much about this, but the war that happened in the 60s, we know nothing about. So it's like...
if you had TikTok, you would have known about it.
Exactly, right? But then it's like, it's me thinking, it's like, wow, that's so weird that the only things that I know about Vietnam is like from the people who came back from Vietnam.
Yeah. Or the movies that they showed you.
Or the movie,
about
yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Good morning. Vietnam.
Exactly. That and
Or
then,
what was that? Apocalypse Now or something like that.
Apocalypse Now.
I think that was one. Yeah, like when Lawrence Fishburne was like a teenager. I think
I don't
that's
remember
the name
that
of
one.
it. Yeah.
Are you talking
it's
about
been a bunch of-
Cadence? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Forrest Gump. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say about that. Yeah, I love it. I love but it's like, why is it not in our history books? Why don't we know anything about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a movie. Yeah, I had to look it up just to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. But yeah,
I've never
that's
seen
it.
that. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's an old one.
I mean, yeah, I
like
figured
it has
old.
Martin Sheen in there looking young with no gray. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
older. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said and Lawrence Fishburne, who now plays people's grandfather, was like a teenager in it. So yeah.
But it just is weird to me that maybe that's the why I'm having a hard time following it. Is because we're like, I don't know anything about the Vietnam War, and that was like the war that was just like right here.
Okay, yeah. Oh gosh, that movie had everybody: Marlon Brando, Martin Sheen, Dennis Hopper, Lawrence Fishburne, Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah.
I gotta watch it now.
Oh, there's another movie out that has everybody in it, and I can't wait to talk about it in the following week.
Okay.
Super excited. I mean, when I say it has everybody in it, when I go through the cast, it's going to be most of the episode.
Okay.
I'm gonna be reading off names for hours.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a part in the movie where you do not know somebody.
Interesting. Okay. I love it. I'm ready.
But yeah,
for it.
so that's what I had. Going back to the Sympathizer. It is the story about a spy, but he's the softest spy in the world.
Got it.
Soft like Charmin.
Okay.
But he's mixed breed, so that's why they use him. That's why the U.S. is using him. He has blue eyes, but he does look like he's Asian.
Interesting.
And then that does come to haunt him with some stuff, when some things, because they're just like, you half breed, like you are nothing, like you're beneath us. It's like, but I'm still your captain.
Yeah.
So guess
I'm
what?
the captain now.
Yeah, that's what you can get out of my face.
Okay.
But yeah, Sympathizer on Max. Check it out.
All right.
Pay attention.
Pay attention,
Because
people.
apparently I didn't. I don't know. Get your reading skills up. Pause
Read
if
fast.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. What do you have, ma'am?
So I have on Netflix, Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut.
I said I wanted to watch it, and then I started it, and I didn't finish it.
Yeah. So
I was starting to fall asleep.
it is the story of microbes. Because at first, I forgot, I think it was a girlfriend of mine. Yep, shout out Angela. She was like, oh, have you watched that Hack Your Health thing? You know, and I was like, no, I haven't. And I was like, okay, maybe it'll be something to watch for the podcast, you know?
Yeah.
Do it for the gram, but instead do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me see. I don't know. It was a little quick documentary. It wasn't that long. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I was fascinated.
Oh.
So it starts off, like I said, the story of microbes. It's part documentary, part cartoon. So like they show things like going on, the microbes and a baby being born and different things. And it's like cartoonish because it helps you to understand, which I was here for it. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. And so it talks about how they get into our body, how when we are in the womb, we have no microbes. However, when we are born through the canal and being so close to the bottom, it creates microbes to go into the baby upon getting born. And so I was like, that is fascinating. You can't live without microbes.
I don't know what a microbe is.
We'll talk about it a little bit. But basically, I guess you have to think of it as things that are in your stomach that are like helping to make sure that your digestion
Healthy
and everything, makes your gut healthy.
Okay.
If you don't have microbes, if you strip all your microbes, you might end up with diarrhea or being constipated or whatever. So it's like all those things. So we'll talk a whole lot of fun poop things. Well, I won't talk a lot about it, but it goes down that
Poop
path.
it up. Poop. Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is that then that's why people take like probiotics and different things to kind of make sure that your gut
Boppy is the big thing. Is it Boppy? Poppy.
Poppy, P-O-P-P. No, P-O-O-P-I. As that drink.
Yeah. Is it poopy?
No, I think it's Poppy. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it might be poopy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, so it goes through the story of 4 people. So you have Kobe, who I think most of us actually know. Kobe is the competitive eater that you always see, Asian, who is doing the hot dogs all the time.
The skinny guy.
Yep,
really skinny guy. Didn't he go against a bear one time?
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
the competitive food eater with the hot dogs, I think it's Nathan's. It was 4th of July. He would always be the competitive person. And you would just be like, how in the world can he eat all those hot dogs and where is it going? And he would start and be super skinny. And by the time he ended, you just see his stomach like expand.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So he's one person. He does not feel hunger. That's his concern.
That makes sense why he can do that, because he doesn't feel hungry.
He's like, I can go days. Like, before a competition, I don't need to eat. Like, and then I'll eat at the competition, but then it's like,
But I feel like that would be like shrinking his stomach. But,
I don't know.
He stretches it out with hot dogs.
So then you have Maya, who's the pastry chef, and she has an eating disorder.
Okay.
So then it's like, ooh, you around all these sweets, all this food, and you're just going in the bathroom after, you eat stuff. So that's not good. Then you have Kimmy, who is overweight, a mother who can't seem to lose her weight, and she's concerned about what is going on there and why that is happening and all of that. Especially when she's like, I can look at food and I feel like I put on 5 pounds. I can work out, I can sweat, I can do this, I can do that, I can eat right, whatever, and I barely lose an inch. Like, what is wrong with that picture, right? And then you have this other girl, and I don't know why I didn't take down her name, but she's a student, and she has an inflamed bowels. So I guess it's like an IBS kind of situation.
Okay, yeah.
But hers is like,
mess up her stomach.
Yeah, but hers is really, really, kind of majorly not great. Like
Crohn's
she just basically said there are so few things that she can actually eat without feeling sick or being just totally out of it, that she's like, it's so restrictive. Like, I don't get any enjoyment out of eating at all, because
I have a friend that's like that has Crohn's disease.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for sure. And so, like I said, it talks about how, just different things. They did the baby being born and kind of showing that and how that goes into effect. They talked about how Kimmy and Kobe, for example, they did brain scans on them to find out why is it that you can't lose weight. So they showed them pictures of certain types of food and then scanned their brains to see what would happen. Yeah. And so when they would show her the food with the, with I guess the food, her brain was like sensitized by it.
Yeah,
it was
like, ooh, that looks good. I want that.
That looks amazing. Oh my God, that looks great. Ooh, I would eat that in a heartbeat kind of scenario. Whereas with Kobe, when they did his brain scan, because he was a competitive eater, they said that somehow, they said they have rarely seen this, that his brain and gut were combined. Like, they said it's a weird thing where he has competitive eaten so much and he has starved himself so much that now his brain is too confused about, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? Is this going on? What?
That's crazy.
So they were just like, your brain is almost not even processing that there's food on the screen.
Yeah.
So
it's just another thing, because this is your job now.
Right.
So it's like your brain's just like, oh, this worked.
He made it his job. Yeah. His brain can't put together that actually you might want to, eat something now, you know. Yeah. So he's married, and his wife, was just saying that it's a challenge, just to be with somebody that you're just like, hey, have you eaten today? And it's not because he has I guess he has an eating disorder when you think about it, but it's not like an eating disorder as you would normally think about it. It's just that he doesn't think about food. He doesn't, he doesn't eat it. So he says that he is now consciously determining, like, okay, yes, I'm going to eat. This is what I'm going to have. These are the things, and he's just
does he mention anything about taste? Like, does the food taste good to him? Does he mention anything about that?
He didn't.
That would be, I'm about to say, that would be another thing. It's like when you're eating, it's just like, oh, I got to eat this.
Yeah. It's almost like, okay, it's something that I have to do for nourishment, but it's not that I necessarily need to, but it's almost like he broke his body by doing the competitive eating. Wow. And now it's like, if I have to do something... So
it's not something that happened his whole life. It just happened after...
It happened, it seemed like, after he started doing the competitive eating, and that changed his brain-stomach mix. Yeah. And then he said, but he's also like a competition person. So he's like, now I just changed what I'm competitive about. Like, 'cause he's like, I need to have that competitive energy, so to speak. So they talk about that a little bit. And then they talked about something that I have never heard of in my life.
Okay.
And I was just like, say what now? So basically it's called fecal microbial transplants, or C. diff for short. I don't know where the diff comes from. It's for people who have extreme diarrhea. So they went through this story, and there's people who, like, everything you eat, it's just whoosh, right out of you. And so they said that one of the ways that they have had a 90% success rate is to take someone who has a normal gut. Yes.
No.
And she's looking at me like, wait, what?
No.
Have them poop.
No.
And collect it before it gets to the toilet water or whatever. Then blend it and put it into capsules so that she's just, I'm telling you, this is what I'd never heard before. Science. You put it into capsules, and then the person then takes the capsule, and when it dissolves, the outside of the capsule dissolves, it creates the right microbes in their gut, because their own gut can't create the microbes. So therefore, they get the gut microbes from another person, and then they can eat normally, and 90% of them can do pretty good. So
who said let's take somebody's poop and put it in your mouth? It kind of
makes sense. Well, not in your mouth, but I mean,
they're taking it in a pill form.
So what they did, and they showed the process.
Poop pill.
They showed the process, and so basically, it's like just using a syringe basically and putting it inside, a pill, and then closing, like you building your own capsule, and putting it in there, and then going. So the one lady that they showed, it was her brother. So she was just like, he was like, how much do I love you? Like, to do this for you.
Yeah, right.
But then she got a boyfriend. So then the boyfriend does it now. So it started with her brother, and then it became her boyfriend. But interestingly enough, she couldn't continue to use her brother's because microbes also, this is the way, I didn't mean it like that. Like, listen. I was like, listen, Linda, listen. Yeah. But it's like, the interesting thing is that she couldn't continue to use her brother's, because the one thing about these microbes, as they attach to your, stomach walls and all of that kind of stuff, is that it can bring part of that person into you, right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that he had severe depression.
What?
Her taking his capsules created her to have severe depression, to the point that she ended up needing to get off of the capsules of her brother and go to the capsules of her boyfriend, because it comes out in your poop, I guess.
So
it's like it's part of the blood work, the chemistry of your body.
But it's like you would think depression was something that's just in your head.
It is
in your body.
That's how it's in his poop. I don't know if it's in your whole body.
But I mean, it has to be. It's in your body. It's in your bloodstream.
Maybe it's in your blood. But I guess it has to be something more than your head for medication to help, right? Because your medication that normally when you take stuff is like Tylenol you take and it goes through your whole body. Yeah. You take birth control pills. It doesn't just go to one spot. It goes through your whole body. So I guess all medication goes through your whole body. And so they had just said that because of the fact that his poop
was depressed.
He
had depressed poop,
and so it gave. So she ended up being depressed. So therefore, now she, because of her, I can't remember if it's boyfriend or brother, but her boyfriend, I can't remember now. But anyway, one of them had severe acne. Well, she had so now it's like
I could see the acne.
So it's like between acne or depression. So she's now taking the one that is that gives her acne. So everything in your body is all interconnected.
So you have to do your own poop extractions.
No, that is another thing that they said. They said, look, this is a very severe case for her, and she has been, I guess, on this therapy for so long that the doctors and whatever have just said, look, this is what we're going to have you to do. But there is FMT. They do like some kind of It's a pill that
fecal
people can.
micro transplant.
Yeah, fecal microbial. Yep, transplants.
I
and
just
so
made that
they
up
do
in my head
have.
and look
Well,
at
that's
that.
what
I know,
read
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
I read that a minute ago,
Oh,
and then said that it's called C.
you
diff, but I
said
didn't know why.
C.
I don't know
diff,
why
yeah.
they named it that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I was like, I don't know why they call it that. But anyway, but they said, or maybe that's the name of the condition. Maybe the condition is C. diff, and this is how you treat it. But they basically said that.
That's so crazy.
Oh, yeah. No, it was her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had the better gut, but the mental issues and the depression. So therefore, she went back to her brothers because then she only had the acne. So, yeah. So that is, it's interesting. Like I said, I was fascinated by this documentary of Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that for most. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say about Kimmy too is Kimmy's scenario where she was the one who just always saw food and was like, oh my God, squirrel, But,
squirrel.
Yeah. But what they ended up saying was that it was like there wasn't really a way that she could do it on her own. Like they were like, this is what we need. We do need to give you a specific plan. We need to give you certain things to eat, certain times of day to eat, like things like that to help her with it. And so she was saying that she's now doing things healthier, eating with like her children are getting involved in this whole process and everything like that. So it's like.
But they're saying that hers is just obesity, though.
No, hers was not really. It's something metabolically that's happening with her as to why she's not losing the weight, even when she's trying to lose the weight. So there was that part, but also like we need to give you a guided, like a true guided plan for you to be where you need to be. And then the one who was anorexic, she started doing a whole bunch of other things to make sure that she. Being around, I don't even think sweets was her big thing, but like being around food and her to just have a healthy relationship with food. So then it went into the story about, what she could do. And she said she picked up another obsession in the place of that one, and yada yada. So it was interesting.
Else. I feel like it's nothing about your gut, all about your brain. That's what I feel like this whole thing. That's where I took from this. Besides the poop. Besides the poop pills.
The poop pills.
I feel like everything else was like what they were saying. It's all in your head.
I don't know. Maybe
it's not anything to do with your stomach. It's like all in your head. That one chick, it had something to do with her stomach.
But it could be that it is it's in your head, but at the same time, what's in your head can potentially, it sounds like, it still affect your entire body. It maybe change the chemistry of your body. You never know. And so, but I do think that it's weird. Like you might have somebody who's super skinny, like the guy who eats all the hot dogs, right? Like you have somebody who's super skinny and no matter what they eat, their whole life, they never put on weight, even if they want to.
I feel like that could also be your metabolism because I have friends that are like that. They can just eat and eat and eat and eat.
Right.
And then like Kelby. Shout out to Kelby. Kelby, eat, never gains weight. He's like, next year this time I'm going to be like 250. You're going to be 110 pounds like you are right now, sir. It's not going to happen.
So it's like it doesn't happen, but it makes you wonder. It can't just be the way you think about food. It can't be just your brain.
Yeah.
Because you're still eating. You could be eating just as much as the person sitting beside you every single day, and this person's going to gain weight, and you're not. It's not your brain. Do you see what I mean? So that's where I'm like, it can't just be the brain. It has to be something in the body chemistry. So, but check it out. Maybe there's some things that I missed too where they even explained it better, but that's what I took away from it. So it is Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut on Netflix.
All right. Well,
all righty.
That was quick.
That was it. Felt quick, didn't it? Did we talk too much? Did we share too much?
Nah, I think the people like it.
All right, great. Well, thank you all for another wonderful episode of Sestra-Tainment. Have an amazing evening. Bye.